Most people assume that schools won't teach you about money simply because teachers don't understand money. But that's a lie. It goes way deeper than that. I'll show you. If the average American was more financially educated, our economic system as it stands today would fail. Why? Because of 3 reasons. Number 1, our government profits when you're in debt. Number 2, banks profit when you're in debt. And number 3, corporations profit when you spend all your money and are in debt. Let's start by talking about the United States government. This is a chart from the United States Treasury Department website showing the US government's assets and liabilities. And what you can see is that the government's number 1 largest assets are loans receivable. That means that the United States government's number 1 largest asset on their balance sheet are the loans that they have lent out to other entities. But the question is, who have they lent this money out to? Let's take a look. So now when we open up the financial statements on the loans receivable to the United States government, you'll see that out of all the loans receivable, the largest and the most lucrative asset here for the United States government are federal student loans. No other loan type even comes close. That means the number 1 largest asset on the United States government's balance sheet are student loans. There are loans made out to regular people. That way you can try to do the right thing, get educated, and follow along in the system. But at the same time, that system, it's what's keeping the United States government to make money because that is their number 1 largest asset. And if you don't believe me, I will also link the charts for you down in the description. Second, let's talk about banks. This is a Forbes article from 2012 titled How Banks Are Getting Richer Off of the Poor, and the article reads, banks are looking to boost their business by offering low-income consumers products laced with loads of fees and plenty of interest. Now honestly, that shouldn't come off as that big of a surprise because, well, when you don't understand money, they make more money. And how do they make money? By lending more money out to you. But it doesn't end there. Let's take a look at credit card companies. This is a chart on the Ascent's website showing where credit card companies earned their money in 2016, 2018, and 2020. And what you'll see is, again, their largest income generator every year has been interest income. It's even larger than their interchange income. The way credit card companies work is when you take your credit card, you take a Visa and you go to Walmart and you swipe, Walmart is going to be charged a fee by Visa to process that transaction. But credit card companies are making even more money when you go out and spend money you don't have, and now you have to pay that money back plus interest. Which means the less financially educated you are, the more they make. And third, let's talk about corporations. Let's go over 2 hypotheticals. You walk into the mall, scenario 1, with $2,000 in your bank account. You go into the Gucci store, you see that $1,000 handbag, and you say, you know what? I don't want to spend half of my savings on this handbag, so you don't buy it and you walk out. Compare that to scenario 2, your broke cousin Bunty walks into the mall with $500 in the bank. He goes into the Gucci store, he sees that $1,000 handbag and says, oh man, I don't have $1,000 to buy this, so how about I just put it on my credit card? He swipes his card, walks out with the handbag. In scenario 1, you're doing what's best for you. But that's not so good for the economy because you're not spending your money. In scenario 2, you're doing what's good for the economy because you're spending money, it's good for Gucci, but it's not so good for you because now you're staying deep in debt. And this is where financial education becomes so important, because if you understood financial education, maybe you wouldn't be spending all of your money in corporations. Maybe you wouldn't be paying all this money in interest to the bank. Maybe you wouldn't be so reliant on the government to live your life. And this is where now that financial education is so important, because the reality is the United States of America is still the best place in the world to be. So now if that's the case, how can you win in this system? And this is where that financial education becomes so important. And unfortunately, we're not learning that in school. And I know this from experience because I went through high school, I went through college, I went through a year in grad school, and then I went through law school, and I never once learned a thing about money. Never once learned a thing about investing. Never once learned a thing about building wealth. I had to go out and learn this on my own. Now, I was fortunate enough to see some success with my business before I graduated, so I never had to work a day as an attorney. But this is where now it is very important for you to start building your financial education to understand how this works, because it starts by understanding how our economic system works. Let me show you. Our economic system is made up of 3 different players. You have the businesses. These are the entrepreneurs that create businesses. You have the investors that own a piece of the businesses. And then you have the consumers. Everybody's a consumer. Rich people, middle class people, poor people, Every single person is a consumer because everybody's got to buy things. Well, the problem is most people, most Americans are only consumers. Now you might say, but Jaspreet, I don't want to go out and start a business. I don't want to operate a business. I'm not an entrepreneur. That's okay. You don't have to be. But everybody in America needs to be a business owner. Now you might say, wait, how does that make any sense? You just said don't go out and start a business, but I should be a business owner. What does that mean? Well, that's where this I comes in. You have to become an investor to win in this financial system, period. See, the way that the system works is that you, a consumer, are going to go out to a business and you're going to spend money. And now when you spend money in this business, this is going to benefit the investors because the investors own a piece of the business. But what happens? What we've been seeing happen for the last number of decades is that the prices of things have risen faster than people's wages. We've been seeing this happen before the pandemic. We've been seeing this happen for many decades now. So now as the prices of things rise, that means your job as a consumer is to spend more money at businesses. When you spend more money at businesses, that means investors make more money. So now the B are winning, the I are winning, but the consumers have to fund it all by spending more money. And if you're relying solely on your salary, well, your salary might be growing, but it's not growing fast enough to keep up with this. This is where, again, that financial education is important to understand how the system works and also understand how to be an investor. Now, before I go deeper into this, I do want to let you know that if you are interested in learning more about how to grow your financial education and be an investor, I have a free ebook that my team created at Briefs Media called How to Build Wealth as an Investor. This ebook is completely free and it walks you through from the beginning the basics of, well, how do you build a wealthy mindset to how do you save your first couple $1,000s. Then it goes into how do you start investing your money, what are the different ways to invest your money, how do you start generating cash flow, to how do you start spending your money smartly. Then it goes into how do you earn more money smartly, and then finally it wraps up by talking about how do you protect your assets. This ebook is completely free. So if you want to read this ebook, you can download it by clicking the link down in the description below, or you can go to briefs.co/ebook. This is where things really start to get interesting, because if you understand the incentives behind different entities, you'll understand why it's profitable to keep regular people financially uneducated. Because see, in the bank's eyes, it is profitable to keep you financially uneducated because if you're financially uneducated, you're more likely to go into debt. And if you're more likely to go into debt to finance your Gucci, that means the bank is going to get interest on selling a product they don't even own. And corporations benefit when you're financially uneducated because that means you're more likely now to go out and spend your money. Maybe even spend more money, because if you have $1,000 in your bank account and you walk into Gucci and you don't buy, that's not good for them. But if you go in and you buy that handbag, that's good for them. And if you don't have the ability to afford the handbag, that means they have less customers that can buy their stuff. But if you only have $500 in the bank and they're selling a $1,000 handbag, but now you can finance that $1,000 handbag with your credit card, that means Gucci has more potential customers, because that means people who don't have enough money can buy their products. So that means corporations get to sell more stuff, which means they get to make more money, which means businesses make more money, the investors make more money, but the consumers are the ones that are paying the price. And when it comes to the government, well, we all want to believe and hope that the government always has our best interest in mind. And I'm not saying that they're this evil out to get you entity. However, the person who's going to look out for your interests better than anybody else is you. It's not the government. It's not the bank, and it's not corporations. And it's not even a random guy on YouTube. My goal is to help you be more financially educated, but at the end of the day, you are the one that can understand and take care of yourself better than anybody else. And this is where it is very important for you to be financially educated because, well, even if you get a financial advisor, you want to make sure you have the basic financial education level to ask the right questions. Because if you were diagnosed with a disease and you went to a doctor, you'd want to get a second opinion to make sure that your course of action, your course of treatment is the right plan, maybe even a third opinion. Well, most people are not doing that when it comes to their money. Maybe they listen to a random person on the internet, maybe they listen to a random financial advisor and just blindly do what they say without understanding what their full options are. And this is where it becomes very important for you to become financially educated because number one, most of us are never taught this, and number two, because we all use money every single day in our lives. And this is where it is so important for you to, one, accept that, because the first hurdle that a lot of people face, I went through this myself, is to understand this concept that you have to be okay talking about money. Many of us, myself included, grow up in this mindset or belief that money is bad, it's taboo, it's evil, you shouldn't talk about money, you shouldn't stress about money, you shouldn't worry about money. And at the same time, everybody's working hard to generate an income. Everyone's working hard to make money. So we're here talking about how money's bad, but at the same time, we're working to get money. And now we don't understand what to do with the money, which is why most people end up broke. And this is where, number one, you got to understand how the system works. Consumers are spending money to fuel the economic system. Everybody's a consumer. Rich people are consumers too. Middle class people are consumers too. Poor people are consumers too. But most people get stuck here as consumers. The people that win are the people that break out of this and start putting their money here. Now, how do you do that? That means you can't spend all the money that you generate. That means you got to take some of this money and use it to buy assets. Again, these could be things like stocks. It could be things like real estate. It could be things like buying or building your own business. And this is where now you have to understand what's the right plan for you and how do you actually go out and do it. Because in order for you to win in this economic system, because the reality is the people that win in this system aren't the people that just got a big salary, because you have doctors that end up broke and you have some teachers that end up rich. I have videos on my channel that have explained that. But it all comes down to understanding, what do you do with the money that you make? Are you going to blow all of your money and make somebody else rich? Or are you going to use your money to make yourself rich? And that's that first question now you have to start asking yourself, because if you understand that, okay, I want to stop making the rest of the world rich, that means you can't keep spending all of your money. That means now you got to use your money to buy assets instead of just using your money to look like you're rich. This is why I created a rule that if you have credit card debt, you are not allowed to purchase any of our Briefs Media products because, well, the best return that you can get right now is paying down the credit card debt. And when you pay down the credit card debt and you're ready to amplify your financial education, that's when you can take a look at some of our Brief Media products, paid products. But the key here now is you have to be the one that looks out for your best interest, because unfortunately, a lot of people are not going to be out there looking out for your best interest. And this is where your financial education becomes so important. Now, again, if you want to learn more about how you can start and grow your financial education, you can check out the ebook that we have at Briefs Media. I got the link for you down in the description. Passive income is the idea that you can make money without doing any work. And the whole concept is kind of true, but it's also kind of a lie. There's no true way to create an income that will pay you forever without you having to do anything. There are three general ways that I generate cash flow, and some of these are way more passive than others. They are PRR.